and today I'm going to share with you one of the most interesting learning I have had as an entrepreneur and about the fundamental principles of developing a mindset to succeed as an entrepreneur. This I'll be doing through a very interesting story about one of the most decorated soldiers of US Navy whose name was James Stockdale. Stockdale was positioned in Vietnam during 1965, and he had a great amount of success as a fighter pilot, destroying multiple aircraft and torpedo boats. But on one of his return journey, his aircraft was hit by a missile and it caught fire. He tried very hard, but he had no choice but to eject. On ejection, he came and landed in an enemy territory. Now, he was caught by the village travelers who saw an American as an alien and he was brutally beaten up. Now, they were about to surrender him to Vietnamese army. Now, by upbringing or even by coaching, most of the soldiers are taught this. Whenever in your life you have a choice between becoming a POW or dying, choose death. Why they say so is number one, the amount of agony, pain, and torture which you go through as a POW is far more painful than any death you can get. And also, there exists a big chance that you may compromise with the national interest. Stockdale, however, was made of a different metal. He wanted to test the limits of his own resilience, and he knew that if his values are supreme, he will somehow prevail. Now, after he was taken as a POW, the Viet jailers, they wanted to serve more interests. They wanted Stockdale to convince other soldiers who were hiding or who were attacking them from different directions that life as a POW is very good. Stockdale refused. When he refused that, he was put inside iron bars and he was beaten day in and day out. But the beating was such that there were no physical signs that he was suffering some pain. When they finally decided that he should go ahead and address other POWs to surrender and help the Vietnamese, what he did was he slit his scalp with a razor blade and he started bleeding. When the prison authorities they saw this, they covered his wound on head with a hat. When this was done, Stockdale went out and he beat himself so badly that his face was totally swollen. They could not use him for what they wanted. Later on, Stockdale was responsible for keeping the morale of all the POWs inside the Vietnamese jails, developing a secret code of communication between POWs and keeping their morale intact. Now, there were other set of prisoners in the same jail who were very optimistic. They were optimistic that there'll be some rescue mission done by US military. They'll be out by Christmas. The Christmas came and they went. Then they thought they'll be out by Easter and they started waiting for the escape route on the same day. But the Easter also came and they didn't get rescued. And so on. They thought about Thanksgiving Day and between no time it was Christmas again. It was almost 6.5 years of captivity which Stockdale endured, and he came out. He went on to become the most decorated soldier and also won the Presidential Medal of Honor. He was also nominated to be Vice President of USA. Now, when he was interviewed and he was asked about what made him believe that he could come out of those prison cells, he said, "The reality around me was very brutal. The circumstances were very unnerving. But what I had with myself was a firm belief that finally I will prevail." And with that as my vision and that as my point of focus, I was able to endure the pain which other people were giving me and also the tremendous amount of atrocity the prison authorities put on me. He was also asked about how what happened to the people who were very optimistic that within no time they'll be able to escape jail. He said all the people who believed they'll be out by a certain time were the people who met with death in the prison. Now, why is the story relevant for entrepreneurs, startups, or the people who are starting a new venture? What I say is a startup journey or a new venture journey is almost like a big long tunnel which gives you almost all the experience which a POW faces. To start with, your resources will be constrained. The amount of capital you will be able to raise for your business initially will be very low. Your lifestyle will hit a rock bottom. You'll not be getting any salary for you don't know how many years. The people who you want to hire will not come. You'll find it difficult to retain your existing employees. You'll not be able to pay bill. And the worst part is the market will treat you with as much brutality as possible. It would like to kill you. Now, what is your motivation? What's your faith? What's your value system which will allow you to persist against such adversities and finally succeed as an entrepreneur? The same belief which Stockdale had. You need to have a very strong belief that this opportunity which you're chasing is mammoth. And not only the opportunity is mammoth, you possess those unique skills, capabilities, mindset, and conviction that finally you are the person who's going to leverage this opportunity to the hilt. When you have this unflinching faith and belief in your startup, your venture, and your own capabilities, it makes you immune to the pains which you face as an entrepreneur. It makes you negotiate all the difficulties and troubles of startup and to not give up. I'd also quote a very good example where in which Steve Jobs and Bill Gates they were being interviewed, and Steve was asked what differentiates those highly successful entrepreneurs from the people who have had average success in their ventures. Pat came the reply from Steve Jobs. He said, the only thing which differentiates a successful entrepreneur from a mediocre one is the degree of passion. It's the passion which keeps you going because the temptation to give up will be thousands, there'll be millions. And every time you have an arrow penetrate your chest or you see a stream of blood coming out of your own body, it's only the passion which always makes you stick on to your goal and pursue the opportunity which you are so convinced about and you are so passionate about. To read more about the story of Stockdale Paradox, either you can buy the book Good to Great written by Jim Collins, or summary of this blog which I covered is already there on wikify.com/startups, and you can search for Stockdale Paradox. So you are young, you are confident, you want to start a new venture. First, identify your strengths, identify the opportunity, and once you are convinced, never let your faith, never let your conviction waver. Go, and finally, you will prevail.